What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank you so much for joining me. This being my review for RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 10, episode 11. We have made it to the final episode of the semifinals before we get to the grand finale next week. So the show starts out with the girls coming back from Mistress eliminating Cynthia Lee Fontaine and that great Who's Zooming Who Aretha Franklin lip sync. That was honestly one of my favorite lip syncs of the season. To be honest, my favorite lip sync is Don't Make Me Hit You With My Pocketbook between Bosco and Irene the Alien, but this was a good lip sync as well. And I love the fact that they chose the a cappella version of the song, so it was a great lip sync. But anyways, the girls are coming back into the workroom, and Mistress is the highest of festivity. She is upset. She doesn't believe that she deserved to be in the bottom two. She felt like some other girls could have taken her place, but hey, it is what it is. You know, you just got to play the game when you sign up for these shows. So Mistress is being very passive aggressive, being very condescending towards all the girls. You know, she tells Gingerman, you know, congratulations for winning the snatch game. You know, I hope you win the whole thing. You know, and it's given. She's very mad. She's very upset at this point, and I don't know. It's just funny to me because I didn't like the way that she ended up into the semifinals. Not that she doesn't deserve it, because I really don't like the bracket system to begin with, but I honestly didn't like the way that she played Nicole Page Brooks and Carrie Colby. So it is what it is. But anyways, so everybody sees that Mistress is really upset, and we get into the next day into the workroom, and I was just giving the girls, you know, a little bit of a rundown of the way that she was feeling and the fact that, you know, she's got a new attitude and she's back, and Mistress is sitting right next to her, and she starts laughing while, excuse me, not laughing like out loud, but she's like snickering at what Aja's saying. And Aja's like, what's the tea, girl? Like, what's so funny? What you laughing at? She's like, oh no, go ahead, girl. And there's this whole back and forth between Aja and Mistress, and it's really awkward because especially Irene and Bosco and, you know, all the other girls are just like cringing because this is so unnecessary, at least in my opinion. But, you know, Mistress is upset. Mistress is bad and she's acting out, and it's just very unfortunate that she chooses this pathway, that she chooses to act this way towards the other girls. But hey, it is what it is. That's just who Mistress is, and I can't say that I'm surprised by her behavior whatsoever. But anyway, so the ladies find out that the maxi challenge for the final episode of the semifinals is a talent show. Irene the Alien is very nervous about the talent show because that's the episode that she got eliminated on season 15. The other girls are, you know, they're getting their stuff together. So they're practicing their talent show performances two by two, and they're giving each other, you know, some pointers. They got the background dancers there, you know, learning the choreo and all that good stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. So we get to the talent show. I'm not going to go over everybody's performances, but I will give my opinion on certain queens' performances. Bosco is doing her thing. You know, she's saying that, you know, she's so pretty, so she doesn't have to have talent. I thought that was a very interesting song for her to do, but it's definitely in her brand to do, because she's been pushing this narrative that she's just this pretty woman. And, you know, not that she's not a pretty woman, but that's just really what she's been giving this entire time on All Stars 10. So I did enjoy her performance. It wasn't my favorite, but I did enjoy her performance. My favorite performance was from Georges. Georges is just a performer to begin with. Like, that's just what she does. That's her bread and butter. She's an amazing dancer. She's an amazing performer. She just does it right every single time. She had this big stage on the stage, and, you know, it was great. I thought she was going to do a death drop off the stage like Aja did, but, you know, she did do a death drop at the end of her performance, so I thought that was great. Aja's performance was decent. You know, she was using a machete during the performance. You know, she was showing off her dance moves, things of that nature. It was really good. It was a really good performance. I really couldn't follow it all the way through necessarily. You know, she was calling herself an icon. You know, that's really big in the ballroom scene. So, you know, it was a decent performance in my opinion. I liked Irene the Alien's performance. She was kind of doing a whole lot of things, trying to show off all of her talent at once. I don't know if it was as effective as she felt like it could have been or should have been. But I thought Irene did great. Nothing to get her, get her eliminated. Ginger Minge, she did like a Broadway type of theme. Like, once again, as I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Ginger Minge. I've never been the biggest fan of Ginger Minge. I will admit that she is a professional. She is an excellent drag queen. She's great at what she does, which is why she keeps coming back to RuPaul's Drag Race. So I'm not surprised that she did a pretty good job on her Broadway themed performance. So it was decent. Lydia Butthole Collins, she wanted to play Humpty Dumpty, which was a story about an egg that ended up falling off of a wall. And, certain parts of her performance didn't go the way that she wanted it to. A couple reveals happened before she meant for them to happen. So it was just kind of iffy for Lydia Butthole Collins. And it's sort of kind of one of those willow pill talent show type of things. Like, you know what's going on, but at the same time, you really are kind of confused at the same time as to what is actually going on. So, it is what it is. Mistress, she was throwing a whole lot of shade at the heavier queens of past. And I did not like that she was naming all the big queens and trying to shade them for still being big whilst Mistress has lost a little bit of weight. So I didn't necessarily like that. And I don't know, like, what was the objective of her performance? What was she trying to prove? Was she trying to prove that losing weight allows you to do more, or losing weight allows you to be a better performer? I didn't really understand Mistress's performance. So we get to the we get to the runway and the critiques, and they're pretty decent with their critiques. I don't the critiques have been a little bit soft for this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I only like brutal honesty when it comes to RuPaul's Drag Race, or any competition show for that matter. So it is what it is. But Bosco ends up winning the talent show. She's going to the semifinals. And every other girl except for Mistress and Lydia Butthole Collins are called safe, and they're going into the finals. And so Mistress and Lydia, they lip sync, and Lydia Butthole Collins wins the lip sync. And I don't know if Mistress necessarily deserved to be in the bottom. However, I can't think of any other queens that would have been able to take her place. So I guess it was the right call to make. But Mistress is very upset. I really thought Mistress was just going to walk off the set and cause a big scene. But she was very professional, which I did like the fact that she kept it cute. So the judges reveal, RuPaul reveals via Angeria Paris Van Michaels, the winner of All Stars 9, what wild cards the main judges have picked to be in the wild card drawing. So Carrie Colby is picked by two of the main judges, and I think it was T.S. Madison and Michelle Visage, if I'm not mistaken. And Mistress Isabel Brooks is chosen by Carson Kressley. And so they have Bruno, spinning the bingo wheel and, trying to see who makes it into the grand finale. I'm hoping that it is Carrie Colby, although I don't see her necessarily winning the show with her lip sync skills only. But I would love to see Carrie make it into the finals, especially with what happened to her in bracket 2 and how she was finagled into giving away her point to Georges. But anyways, the reaction by the judges makes it seem as though Mistress was the ball that was picked. And it would not surprise me if it was Mistress that was picked to be the wild card. But hey, we'll see what happens in the grand finale. See who is the wild card for the grand finale. So what do you guys think about how this last episode went? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. Takes less than a second to mash that thing. Also go ahead and mash it for a brother. Be sure to leave a thumbs up for this video. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Also be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but not least, share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Peace out, y'all.